Hey everybody, welcome back to another design tutorial in Adobe Xd. Okay, so now that you've seen that app prototype in action, we're actually going to make that app prototype inside Adobe Xd. Okay, so today we'll be doing something a little different. We'll be using a UI kit, which was, kind of pushed out by Adobe Xd, and worked together with another designer, and which is called a Semantic UI kit, and it's pretty cool. So first of all, let's go ahead and import all these assets. I'm going to show you how to import all these assets. For that, I'm going to start a new document, a completely new document with the iPhone 6, 7, and 8, because that's the device I was prototyping with. And here, as you can see, I can link assets. However, first we have to install the Semantic UI kit, and it's as simple as downloading the It's as easy as downloading the Semantic UI kit from the link which I will be providing in the description. And once you open this, it'll open up and it'll take a couple of seconds. And as you can see, we've opened up the entire UI kit with all the assets right here. And I want you to go ahead and actually save this. So I want you to go to File, and I want you guys to quickly say Save As, and in Save As, go to Cloud Documents, and you can save it at whatever name you want, and go ahead and click Save. I've already done this process, so I already have the kit. So first of all, I will click on Link Assets right here, and from the Cloud Documents, I will go to the Semantic UI kit, which I've already uploaded to the cloud. As you can see, all these assets that we had, including the fonts, the colors, all the components, have been shifted to this project. So that was a quick way. There is something new which has been introduced in Adobe Xd in the past couple of, say, a month, and that's pretty cool. So to get started with the project, I've already downloaded a background image which we have used, and let me quickly go through that. I've already downloaded an image from Unsplash, and I will be giving the link down in the description as well to that file as well. Everything will be down in the description. So once this video is done, go ahead and check that out. So I'll place this somewhat like that. That is how we had placed it before. And I will make sure that this is 70% in opacity, because we want this kind of light background. It shouldn't be very dark. And I'm just going to quickly lock it, say Command L to lock it, so that we don't accidentally shift it. Now we will create the search bar and all the other components that have to go up here, and we'll then place everything here after that. By the way, a quick update, I will be doing something extra at the end of this video for a couple of my subscribers who've been asking me how to convert prototypes into actual GIFs, and so that they can upload it. I'm going to do that at the end of this video. So here, since we're using Semantic UI kit, all I need to do is go to the search bar at the top and just say search. Yeah, because that's what we want. So we want search input from here. Just going to drag and drop it here. So it imports the component right here. Okay, so now Adobe Xd has something called the artboard guides. All you need to do is go to the edge of this artboard, and as you can see, the arrow has changed. From that, I'll just drag it out and place it right here. So we want two of those. One we want at 15 pixels from the left, and the other we want 5 pixels from the 15 pixels. That is, as you can see, I can place it just like that. So we want it about 20 pixels from the left as well. And for the second one, we just want it to be 20 pixels from the first one. That's right. And we want the same thing to happen on the right. So 15 pixels from the right, one, and the other one will be 20 pixels from the third one right here. That's it. So we will be placing things according to these lines. And first of all, stretch this search bar out just like that. It won't stretch anything else. And I'll make sure that everything is placed between these two end lines. Make sure that's like that, and double click and just move this text around and also the search box just to fit in these lines. Perfect. Now, because we're using a UI kit, that took us a couple of seconds, right? The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna place a rectangle over this image, just like that, and it should be white, right? It should have a white background, a white fill, and no border. Now that we have this right here, we will adjust everything later on, but right now we want about this much space right here. So the next thing that we'll do is actually create a first card. But again, since we're using a UI kit, all we need to do is go to all assets and search for card. Perfect. Now we have the card, basic card right here. We're just going to drag and drop it here. And well, it's a very complex card, but all we need to do is double click, just select this rectangle and say copy. And I'll remove this card from here and just paste this rectangle right here. Perfect. And I'll just extend this card till the last edge right here. And there you go. You have the border that we require and the border edges as well. We'll just make sure that it's all over, so 4 pixels all over. That's perfect. And we won't save this yet. The next thing that we need to do is actually place our title. So our title will be here, right next to this line. So it'll be aligned on this line. And we need to say get groceries, right? And this text will actually be, we'll pick up from right here. This text will actually pick up from right here. We have all these font styles right here, and I'll just say table header for this, and it's Lado font at 14 pixels, which is perfect, and the color has already been set. So from the top I want it about 10 pixels, and after that we will just copy this over and right below here, and I'll say Big Bazaar, and that's like a famous, if you're an Indian you'll know Big Bazaar and you'll know what it is. It's a famous, like a supermarket in India. And I'll make sure this is about 5 pixels from this. Make sure this is about 2 pixels from this, just to give it a little bit of space. And about 10 to 20 pixels from the left. I'll tell you why in a moment. And here we will put the location tag, which I've already downloaded. So I'll just quickly go to my downloads folder and pick up the location PNG from over there to here, right? And it's pretty large, so I'll make sure this is about 24 pixels, just so that it's adjustable later on. And I'll place this right here. Make sure now this is about 14 pixels. We want it to be filling the area that the text is taking, right? Perfect. And we want this to be filling the area that the text is taking, so just adjust it based on the text. Make sure that it is aligned with the text itself and it's not bigger than the text. And we're going to select this and we will center it by aligning it from here. Now both the elements are now centered. Select both Big Bazaar as well as this location tag. Make sure it's centered and make sure this is 25%. Make sure this is 50% in opacity. So now that you know that where this is from, so rather than saying 14, I want about 12 pixels regular, and adjust this location based on that criteria right here. Perfect. And make sure both of these are centered out and grouped in, right? And just place it 2 pixels from get groceries tag. Now you know where this is from, where the person has to go to get these groceries. I'm just quickly adjusting some things, making sure everything is tight and ready to go. Now that we have this, the heading all set up, what we're going to do is quickly create a line just to act as a separator between the heading as well and all the list items that we're going to place. And make sure this is about 20 pixels from about 10 pixels from this heading, and also make sure that this border is the same color as this gray that we have, and make sure it's also 25%. So it's barely seen, but it's there, right? And you can quickly preview it, make sure it doesn't pop out too much. And now we are quickly gonna drag in some components from our existing UI kit, the Semantics UI kit. We want checkboxes, so just type in checkbox, and as you can see, we've got unchecked checkbox right here. Just gonna drag this out to here, and so from here I want it to be about 10 pixels from the top. And as it's already a symbol, I'm just gonna quickly right click and say unlink component. I'm sorry, component. I need to get used to this new name. So component is there. And here in checkbox, rather than saying, I'll quickly right click again and I will say make component, right? That's what we want to do. This is now the parent component of the list. So if I change this one list item, every list item will change. But since components have been introduced, if I edit this checkbox, the parent component won't change. So I'll quickly demonstrate. Rather than saying checkbox, I'll say loaf of bread. This is obviously our list of components right here. Make sure that this component, actually the width of this component extends the text right here. So as you can see, both the elements have changed, but if I go ahead and change loaf of bread here, it won't make a change to the first. So I'm just gonna write something like 12 eggs, right? As you can see, the first component wasn't changed. I'm just gonna quickly do this. I'm gonna skip this portion where I'm placing everything. I'll just use this line quickly and make sure this is the same distance as the heading right here. It'll show you in these guides, these little pink guides. And also make sure that these are about 10% in opacity. I'm gonna do the same for all of these components, right? Okay, now I've created this first list which extends to bread, eggs, packaged milk, dog food, and 1 kg of rice. Now here, one last little design touch that we'll add is we'll color code each of these lists. So this particular list we will color code and make sure that the bottom two borders are actually 12 pixels. 4 pixels, because this whole card is 4 pixels and the border radius. So this one, what we're going to do is, as we have these assets here, we're going to take advantage and kind of color these based on these colors here. Rather than saying solid color, I want a linear gradient, which I will be placing right here. So make one linear gradient here. One thing that I always do is that these anchors for these gradients, I'll take outside this element just to make sure they're cleaner, right? So one end, we want this violet, right? Quickly select this violet from here. I don't know why it's not getting selected. Quickly select this violet from here, right? And the other end can be purple. So you have this little subtle purple and violet gradient right here, right? Make sure this is not too thick. Make this slightly thinner, right? Place it at the bottom of this card. Make sure that it's inside the component. And now that we have this, what we're going to do is we're just going to use this parent component and hold option and bring this right here, right? Make sure there's 10 pixels from this card. And okay, I took the liberty of placing these two components. I'm just going to place them at the center of these two headings right there, just like that, and at this corner right here. Now, since this is a component, if I go down, see how this trash can and this edit icon has been placed in the other components as well. That's a pretty nice feature, you know, it's like a symbol. But if I make changes to this, it won't make changes to this original parent. That's pretty cool. Here, now that I've made all the edits, I'll quickly go ahead and create the top cards. Nothing too formal. Here I'll make a rectangle basically at this one edge, which is a vertical rectangle, something like this. And make sure that the borders are 12 pixels in border radius. And there you go. Now inside this, I'll just copy these over just one of these over, and inside this place a groceries image, which I've already installed, which I've already downloaded from Unsplash. Go ahead and check out Unsplash. They're not a sponsor, but if somebody from Unsplash is watching, remember, I'm open for sponsorship any day. So make sure this is half of this card, somewhere around half of this card, and you got this image, which you can adjust obviously after putting it inside this rectangle. And here I will place in bold text, place some text here saying set a grocery list. Okay, so I made a small mistake. Okay, now what I have to do is make sure that the top of this is actually Lado, but it's regular, and the bottom portion, this grocery list, actually is a bold font, and it's this teal that they've used so as to kind of match this background right here, and make sure it's center aligned and 10 pixels from the left and in the center of this card. So this card will be one group and this whole card will be one entire group. Now that we've grouped it together, I'll quickly right click and say make component. We're going to use components a lot in this project, and place it 5 pixels from this. Now I can easily edit this without worrying that the original will be affected, which it won't. And rather than saying set a grocery list, I say set a fitness plan. Now notice how I've left the first letter of plan as not capital. So now what has happened is Adobe Xd has introduced, with the May update, some text editing features. So at the bottom here you can say either set all of these to uppercase, but in this case we want the first letter of both of these words to be uppercase. See how P has changed to uppercase now? Now that's pretty cool. I mean, Sketch had all these features earlier, but I'm really happy to see it in Adobe Xd. Now it's much more of a complete software for me. Now I'll place a fitness image, a man running basically. And again, everything in this project we're using is from Unsplash, since the images are free and they're really high quality. Set a fitness plan. I'm gonna quickly, just to improve the process, I'm gonna say create grid, repeat grid, and I'm just gonna place everything just like that. Make sure that it's 5 pixels difference, right? There you go. And just gonna ungroup this grid now. Now, as you can see, the components have easily been copied over using the group grids. And here I'm gonna say set a, I don't know, I'm gonna say set a family plan. How about that? And I don't even need to worry about the first letter being capital or not. It's already set up in this place. And here I'm just going to insert another image which I've downloaded again from Unsplash. I know you guys are kind of irritated with that name now, but I'm just gonna use it. Just gonna make sure that this family is visible. Yeah, set a family plan, that's nice. And all these you can put in whatever you like, and make sure that these cards actually have a good shadow as well. The only problem with components is that the components take up a specified amount of area. So if you want to actually add a shadow, you'll have to add it behind this. If somebody knows a solution, quick solution to adding shadows to these fixed height components, make sure to put that in the comments below. So 12 pixel border radius, and shadow will be 12 by 24. This is by far my favorite shadow, and about 10% in opacity. I'll use the repeat grid quickly for this and make sure the place like that. So I'm just going to reduce the difference between these cards. Make sure they overlay these elements perfectly. Perfect. And make sure everything is behind, right? Behind these cards. So the shadows are now all set for this list of items. And here I will be, okay, now that everything is set, this is kind of irritating. Now everything is more or less set. Let's minus a few buttons here and there. But the main thing was the prototype. So just gonna create a quick little prototype for you guys. First of all, the search prototype. So for that, I'm gonna duplicate this artboard by saying Command D. And in this design, I'm going to double click on this. And since this is, again, not a parent component, I can easily make changes to it. So I'm going to triple click and make sure these anchors are all straight by double clicking on each of these anchors. Make sure you place them next to these edges right here, right? Double click, make sure to double click on these to make them straight, absolutely straight. And place them on these corners just like that. This seems pretty fair, this looks nice. One problem is there, however, since this is a component, I can't really fiddle with it. So right click and just say unlink component. Here also unlink component. Now as you can see, I can easily fiddle with these. And I'm going to place this about 20 pixels from the top right here and 10 pixels from the left. I'll show you why in a second. And I'll place a cross or a close icon on the left right here. Make sure this is much smaller than what it is right now, just like that, and make sure it's 50% in opacity. How about 25% in opacity? And align this across this what are you looking for text. Perfect. Now we have a go back button or a close button and a search bar. So this is how the search bar will function. Quickly prototype this to show you guys how it will work on your phone. And transition, from transition we'll change to auto animate, we'll say tap. Ease out, we'll change it to snap, and 0.6 seconds. Perfect. Let's quickly check this out. And if I click on this, okay, there is a quick error, which we can easily fix. Make sure that in both of these fields, you have the same, first of all, group name, which is search input. That's correct. Make sure search, this rectangle is now not a path. So what we're going to do is go back to design and double click here so as to make this a path, right? And if you go here under search input, you can say path 185. That is what this path should be named, 185 rather than 188. See how we're fixing errors on the spot? That'll help you guys out as well. So if I click on what are you looking for, it should seamlessly just animate, and clicking on this cross, it should bring us back. Now that was a quick little animation. Here what I'm going to do is I want on swiping the bread section on the left to the left, I should easily be able to get this delete option, and on swiping it right, there should be a quick star option which will star that particular task, make it more important, right? So I'm quickly going to place two rectangles. One will be the delete and one will be the star. Make sure that both the same width. You don't want to be biased with the width here, right? And both of these won't have borders at all. I'll remove the borders right here, and this will be the same red that we used, the colors that we're using, and this will be yellow, right? Inside this, we'll use the same trash can that we've used here. Make sure it's out of this component, and make sure that this is white. Again, I'll be linking the Adobe Xd file down in the description so you guys can download it and start working it on your own. And I'll place text over here which says delete, right? And make sure it's Lato and it's white in color. And basically we have to group both of these together. So make sure they're 5 pixels apart and make sure they're center out related to each other, and group these. And also center it out in this place. Make sure that the width is slightly less because you don't want to make them like too big or too huge. And that's about it. So group both of these again right here. And with the star, I will quickly copy over the star because I have it in another document. Okay, so I brought in the star, and as you can see, I've set it up for you guys. And it's aligned with these guiding lines as well, so that's pretty cool. And here in the original, we'll just cut these out and paste them inside this parent component, and inside this we'll edit it to make just reduce the width 100% to 0, and make sure that this is also all the components inside it are 0% opacity. You don't want to blatantly show this outside the element. So make sure both the star as well as the text are 0% opacity. Now that's about right? Star as well as the text is 0% opacity, and the delete will do the same thing with it. Right here, place the delete, make sure it's the text inside and everything is 0% opacity, right? Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do is, since this is the parent component, all of these components now have those delete and star. So in this second artboard, because of components, we didn't have to copy over everything. The parent component handled it, right? Here, as you can see, if I double click, this group is right here, this star group, right? So we want to increase the width on the left, just like that, just like we did before. And make sure that the text is fully opaque, and make sure first of all that the width is, it's full width, just like that. And also make sure that the star is fully lit, so it's basically 100% opacity, right? It's kind of brought it in here, so just adjust it and adjust the text as well, right? Now we have this set up. Make sure this is behind this bread portion, so that this bread kind of slides away, just like that, right? Perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna save this. Now we'll just quickly duplicate this and make sure that the star comes to its original state. So I'm just gonna reduce the width and reduce the opacity of all these elements real quick, short job, and make sure star is 0% opacity, and make sure that the bread comes back. And so this is the third state, and we'll also create a state for delete, right? So delete is also hidden on the right somewhere here, and we just want it to expand and come up here. So select this delete component and bring it, just expand it just like that, and the text would be expanded itself. And make sure the opacity is full, and the opacity of this little trash can is also 100%, just like that. So you have the delete button here as well. And you want the bread to shift out a little bit, not completely. You don't want it to be off the edge right here, but you want it to be at the edge right here, if you get what I mean. Now everything is set up for this delete and star interaction. Quickly gonna prototype this. Double click on the bread right here, right? And make sure that the bread comes to this second one, and rather than saying tap, we'll say drag. And here we want the easing to be ease out, right? And on dragging this again, so select the bread portion again. On dragging this again to the left, it'll hide the star, right? And for this third state also, we'll just select bread, and we'll do the same thing. Basically, drag works by recognizing which, okay, since that we've prototyped all this, we're just quickly gonna preview it. If I just drag this bread from left to right, as you can see, star expands. If I drag it from right to left, it'll just contract. And if I drag it from right to left, it'll show me this delete, right? So if I want to delete, I can delete this task, or I can click on that bread on the right so that I can star it or make this more important. Yeah, so that was the interaction that we've created, but how do we make this into a working GIF? Very easy. We go here on both Windows and Mac, you will have this record button on the top right. And if you click on this, or if you don't have it on the top right, you're probably using an older version of XD, you can, there is a workaround for it. I'll probably link that down in the description. So if I click on this record button, as you can see, recording has started, and on Mac, this will change to this little icon. So if I swipe this, you can see it's now a star. If I swipe it left and swipe left again to bring up this delete, right? So that's a quick animation that we've created. I'm going to save that to documents, right? And I'm going to save that to YouTube, right? I'm just going to type in YouTube and just save it as an MP4 file, right? It's still not a GIF. For that, we will go to Safari, and here I have something which I use a website called MP4 to GIF. I'll quickly show you which website that is. It's EasyGIF, right? And I'll link this EasyGIF website down in the description. Here you can choose a file you want to do it with, and in the documents you can quickly search for your YouTube MP4, right? And just say choose and upload this video. Now make sure that this video is short and snappy. It's not more than 25 seconds. I think that's the limit on GIFs. So no, 60 seconds is the limit, but that'll be really slow as a video as well as a GIF, right? So make sure it's original up to 800, and you can set how many max frames you want. So 20 frames, that's a snappy one. So I'll say convert to GIF or GIF. It's originally GIF, so people, this is another argument for another day. So as you can see, this cat dances around a little bit, and as you can see, it's a pretty good quality GIF that we have set up here. And if you go down, we can save this and it'll download it for us. You can turn any MP4 into GIF, and this is what I actually use for posting on Facebook or on my Twitter. That was today's video. If you liked that video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also hit that bell icon, and quickly go ahead and like this video because that really supports my channel a lot. And keep watching. I post every Thursday and Monday. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.